Right. Well, back again. Same bad channel, slightly later, bad time. Me. Who am I? Uh, let's see. Well, as I said earlier, I'm Lewis Gilbert. I'm a he, his, him. I think that's the progression. Um, and I am a senior lecturer. I think I've covered all of that before. What that means is that I, I I don't have tenure. Um, I don't get to vote in faculty meetings, um, and I don't have any service responsibilities to the university beyond um, um, engaging with you all and thinking about systems and how they help us understand the world around us. Um, let's see. Brief bio. It says in my notes here. I have a PhD in geophysics. I earned that degree in 1993, about a year before my kid was born. Um, and um, let's see. Well, yeah, it was in geophysics, but most of my career has been spent while inside academia. I mean, I am an academic through and through. There's just no getting around that. Um, but I have spent my time on the administrative side of the university by and large. I've done a lot of, yeah, some fair amount of teaching, but my job has always been on the administrative side of the university, where I have had responsibility for helping universities think about how they're going to address the challenges of humans on Earth. When I started out, that was sort of environmental science, by environmental studies. We had long arguments about what is studies and what is science and how do we organize our curriculum. Da, 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 da. I don't know whether those are still going on. I hope not. My God. Um, um, let's see. Did I talk about? Oh, right. So I got a PhD in geophysics, and then I sort of almost immediately moved off of the geophysics path. I got very interested in um, how humans think about the Earth and how we interact with it. And so I ended up working very closely with some pretty heavy hitters in public policy, and um, got into sort of institutional uh, design. In particular, because of my background in the physical sciences, I thought a lot about how science and human intentionality interact, and how do we organize universities so that um, humans might have a slightly better chance of making decisions that make Earth a better place for humans to live. We're not really very good at that at the moment. Right now, our decision making processes on the scale of the planet are going to make are making life more difficult. Probably, well, yeah, without getting into too much detail, we still have some work to do on that front. Um, so I spent a lot of time thinking about what it means to be interdisciplinary. How do we break down the how do we make connections? In the early days, we talked about breaking down the barriers. It's more fun now to talk about making connections across classical disciplinary departments. So, for instance, when I was at the University of Minnesota, um, we connected an artist in the studio arts. Actually, anyway, there's a whole story there. But we connected studio arts to ecology. How we got people to think about the ecology in their backyard, using um, an artist's ability to make connections and tell stories. And that's kind of stuff I did throughout my career. Uh, I have been uh, well, I was the interim director in the Nelson Institute for a little while. I was the interim director at the Institute on the Environment at the University of Minnesota. I helped create the Earth Institute at Columbia. So I've done a lot of that kind of stuff. Um, If you read the homepage, you'll find out I'm actually much happier now teaching than I was doing that kind of work. It was very hard and taxing, and a little bit of head and brick wall involved. Um, let's see. I also, in the first video, alluded to the fact that we all are going to have different perspectives. So I thought I would give you some insight into my own perspective. I'm a 62-year-old white guy. I grew up in the 70s. My dad was much more, he was a socially liberal-ish, politically liberal-ish. We'd probably call him center-right. No, center, that slipped out. Probably center-left. My mother was much more progressive. She died young. Let's see. Yes, I am steeped in Westernness in terms of my intellectual background. Uh, I've been inside universities since I was. Well, it depends on how you look at it. It's the since part. Anyway, I went to college, and then I worked for a scientific organization in the government, and then I went to graduate school, and etc. So Western rationalism, I'm very, very familiar with. I also have spent my time working on mindfulness and some things that are more associated with Eastern ways of thought. I've certainly read the, well, in my times, the classics, the Tao of Physics and other things like that. I'm a Western trained scientist in the core. Yeah, rationality. There it is. Center left. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, my politics are center left. There's no question about it. My kid is much more radical, progressive, lefty than I am. I am much more socially liberal than I am politically or financially or sort of economically liberal. I believe that government has a role to play, but perhaps limited government. I'm definitely not a constitutional originalist. If you read Thomas Paine and even Thoreau, I mean, those guys were hardcore, what we would call hardcore conservatives, small government. Those guys were small government men, which doesn't mean you shouldn't read them. Paine is kind of Paine. Thoreau is definitely worth reading. I believe that democracy is a good idea, and to a certain extent, perhaps I am in league with, in my world, it's attributed to Churchill that democracy is the worst form of government ever tried, except for all the others. Certainly not working great right now, and I will try to keep. I won't lecture, but my thoughts about how things are going might come out now and again. Like I said, I think democracy is a great idea. We have to work out how it works in a very large, heterogeneous country such as ours. We haven't worked that out exactly yet, right? So that, that gets into the, no bigger than necessary with respect to government. I think regulations are important. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Born in 1958, I already gave you that. You could do the math. But it means that I graduated from high school long before you were born. I graduated, most of what I've done, except have a kid. And even that was before you were born, because I'm pretty sure my kid's a little older than most of y'all. I just said y'all. You can tell maybe I lived a little bit in the South. I'm not a Southerner. If anything, I'm a New Yorker. But I've lived in the Midwest for the last 14 years, or 15 years. I don't know, a long time. Life is too short to take it too seriously. Ain't that the truth? So, as I said in the other video, this is a stressful time. So, my objective is to make this course fun. I like thinking, so I may have a weird idea about fun, but It shouldn't be too stressful. It should, you're going to have to work. You have to do some reading, and there's going to be these diagrams to draw. Um, and very rarely do you get it right on the first go. So, although man, yeah. Anyway, the diagrams take some work. Yeah. So, what else? That's kind of it. In my notes, anyway. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I'll be back later with more video fun.